Hey guys, my name is Miss Yarborough. I'm a teacher at Rhonda Kleeman, and I'm going to be teaching you a math lesson today. And we're going to be focusing on place value. And you may have remembered your teacher talking about place value at school. We're going to be talking about tens and ones in a two-digit number. So when we finish our lesson today, we're going to be able to create a two-digit number that has tens and ones, and we're going to be able to represent that number by drawing out our tens and ones. We'll also be able to show that number with expanded form, and we are going to be able to look for patterns and strategies to create these two-digit numbers and be able to explain our thinking. So here we go. The first thing that I want to do is review with you how we draw out our tens and ones. It's going to help us a whole lot because here at home we don't have a lot of our manipulatives that we would use to practice with. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to look at the number 15. All right, so the number 15, I'm going to draw a T-chart around it. And when I do that, this is my tens. And this side is my ones. So in a two-digit number, there are two digits. The digit that's furthest to the right is the number in the ones place. The digit that is to the left of the number in the ones place, that is your tens place. So in the number 15, there is 1 10 and 5 ones. Now, I'm going to show you how I show my students in my class at Rhonda Kleeman how to draw tens and ones. Your teacher may have drawn them a little bit differently, and that's okay. And we'll talk about that. So in the number 15, when I draw a 10, I draw a rectangle. And when I draw my ones, I draw little squares. So I'm going to draw my 1 10 and my 5 ones. So your teacher may have had you draw sticks for your ones and maybe even do circles for your tens, and that's fine, whatever you are most comfortable with, as long as you and I know the difference between your tens and your ones. So in the number 15, I have 1 10. So the value of that digit in the tens place is 10. Okay. In the number 15, I have 5 ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the value of the number in the ones place is 5. So when I add 10 plus 5, that equals 15. We can count on 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We're going to try that again with another number for practice. This time, I'm going to do the number 23. So when I write out the number 23, I'm going to put it in my T-chart. 23 has 2 tens and 3 ones. So I'm going to draw out my tens and I draw out my ones. There's 3 ones. Okay. Now in the number 23, I'm going to do the expanded form just like I did with the last problem. And it's an equation. So I'm going to start by looking at what is the value of my number in my tens place. So that number 2, the value means when I count my tens, what number did I get to? 10, 20. I'm going to write 20. I'm going to put my plus sign because remember, we're adding our two values together to make our two-digit number. So the number 20 plus, how many ones do I have? Well, the value of the 3 in that ones place is just 3. So when I add 20 plus 3, 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, that's the expanded form to just show me and make sure that I understand my thinking of what 23 actually means. All right, I think we're ready for our next step. Okay. We're going to look at a math problem, and this is going to be a story about a little girl named Rachel. Hey, Rachel. So in Rachel's class, they were playing a game called Mystery Number, and her teacher gave her a clue for a two-digit number, so it had ones and tens, and that number confused the class. We're going to try to help Rachel figure out the mystery number. So I'm going to show you the problem. We're going to read it together and see if we can figure it out. All right. Rachel has a group of tens and ones. She has more ones than tens. What number could she have? I'm going to read it one more time. Rachel has a group of tens and ones. She has more ones than tens. What number could she have? All right, I'm going to have you pause the video and you're going to come up with at least one possible number that Rachel could have. You're going to grab a piece of paper and something to write with, and I want you to show me your tens and ones and see if you can figure out at least one number that would work. All right, pause your video now. All right, we're going to see what some possible answers could have been. So remember, when you're ready to show your answer, you need to be able to convince me why that your number makes sense, your answer makes sense. So the first thing we're going to look at is, was there only one way to solve this problem? No. Was there only one correct answer? No. So this one is going to be one where there's lots of possible solutions, and we're only going to look at a few. So I can't see the answer that you put on your paper, but I'm going to show you some examples of answers that would be correct and why. So the first thing that we've got to think about is, what facts do we know? When I look back at my problem, I can see my first fact is that my number has tens and ones in it. Rachel has got to have tens and ones. And there has to be more ones than tens. So I have a lot of solid information that I can use to help me figure out what to do. The first thing I'm going to do is go back to my T-chart for tens and ones, because it's going to help me just really think about my problem. Okay. So I have to have tens and ones, so we know it's a double-digit number. The number that I select for my ones place, the problem tells me I have to have more ones than tens. So I'm going to pick a number. Let's just say that I pick the number 4. Whatever number I put in the tens place has to be smaller than my number in the ones place, because the problem told me that. So tell me, what are some numbers that are less than or smaller than 4? You're right. 3, 2, or 1. I'm going to pick the number 2. Now, I didn't say 0. 0 is smaller than 4, but if I put 0 in my tens place, guess what? That's the same as not having any tens, so my number would only be the number 4. So then we wouldn't have a number in the ones place and the tens place, and that wouldn't meet the requirements of this mystery number. So it's either got to be a number in the number 1, 2, or 3 if I chose 4 as my ones place. And you could have picked a completely different number for your ones place. So let's make sure that the rest of this problem, this number would make sense. The problem told me that I have to have more ones than tens, and 4 is larger than 2, so the number 24 would work. I'm going to pick a different number for the ones place as an example. Let's say that you chose 7 as the number in your ones place. Tell me what numbers I could pick for my tens place when I know the problem tells me that the number I choose for the tens place has to be smaller than the number in the ones place. I could choose 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1. I'm going to pick the number 6. So it's pretty close to the number in the ones place, but it still works because it's less than or smaller than the number in the ones place. Now that you understand how to do this, I want you to pause your video one more time, and I want you to think of one more number that would fit the problem. I'm going to show you the problem one last time. Rachel has a group of tens and ones. She has more ones than tens. What number could she have? Pause your video and create one more number that fits. Okay. Now that you have thought about one of your numbers, I'm going to stick with my number 67. I want you to think of the expanded form for that number. So we've got to think about the value. I'm going to draw out my tens and ones because that really helps me to understand the expanded form. So for the number 67, I want you to watch me draw my tens and ones. 67 has 6 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I made a mistake. Let me erase that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tens. Now my 7 ones. Even teachers make mistakes and we have to check ourselves. All right, my 7 ones. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. Now I'm going to write my expanded form. I'm going to write it kind of small right here so we have room. We're going to start with the number, the digit that's in the tens place. So the digit in the tens place is a 6. So what is the value of that digit? We're going to count by tens. Count with me. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. I'm going to write that down. 60 plus the number in my ones place. The number 7, that just means 7 is the value of the number in the ones place. So 60 plus 7, well, we know this is 60. We don't have to count again. We can count on. What is 60 plus 7? 67. So the expanded form for this helps me to understand the place value and understand what those tens and ones really mean. All right. The next thing that you're going to have is you will see a link for your assignment that you're going to practice with on pencil and paper. And that assignment looks just like this. So the first one is done for you as an example. Let me move over this way a little bit. So you're going to see a number and you are going to draw the tens and ones for that number. And then you're going to write the expanded form to practice with. I can't wait to see your responses. Thanks, guys.